r/Askreddit by Reddit and chill. What's a little known but obvious fact that will immediately make all of us feel stupid? Words that are spelled the same but pronounced with emphasis on different syllables is actually indicative of the part of speech it is. Stress on the first syllable is a noun. Stress on the last syllable is a verb. Examples: contract and contract. The former is a noun, sign this contract, whereas the latter is a verb, the muscles contract. Same with record, address, impact, object, and a few others. Oh wow, I've never really paid attention to this. This is so interesting. Cats, dogs, and other similar animals can't see directly below their faces because their snout gets in the way. That's why you have to point out the treat a million times. They're not stupid. The damn thing is just in their blind spot. Horses too. They have another blind spot behind their tail. The word set has most amount of definitions in a single word. A set of sets are set upon a tea set offered to set as the sun set. Factoids have a second definition. A false fact that is generally accepted as the truth. Antisocial means that you are hostile or harmful to organized society, as in being or marked by behavior deviating sharply from the social norm. Asocial is rejecting or lacking the capacity for social interaction. The words laser and scuba are actually acronyms and they stand for laser light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Scuba self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Taser is one too. Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle. Everyone has seen shows or movies about traveling circuses, mainly in the 1930s or 1940s. During the Depression, running away to join the circus was a semi-reasonable option. Many people scoff at the Florida law you must feed the meter where you park your elephant. Those circuses had a travel season that heavily relied on summer and warmer months. They would spend the winter in Florida until the next travel season. Ours even had an entire season about this. In 1979 my 42-year-old neighbor divorced his wife and ran off to the circus. He immortalized this in the divorce papers. Reason: wife won't join the circus with me. He cared for the elephants. Covered bridges are designed with roofs to protect and preserve the wooden structure from the elements. Without the cover they'd last about 20 years. With the cover they can last up to 100. They're not built that way just to look charming. They were built with walls to keep horses from freaking out pulling buggies over water and ravines. The roofs were added to finish them off and keep the expensive and important wooden structure dry. The word helicopter has two components. They aren't heli and copter. They are helico and ter. Helico, helix, and ter, wing. Like with pterodactyl. So my quest to invent the timecopter is a load of nonsense. Thanks. I'm not inventing the timeter. That's just silly. Like an archaeologist. My life is in ruins. Potatoes didn't arrive in Europe until the 16th century. It's so ubiquitous. You'd think it would have been a part of English culture since 10,000 BC. Likewise, tomatoes in Italy, chilies and peanuts in India. My favorite thing to tell people: penguins swim faster than Michael Phelps. Remember that Discovery special that pitted a shark against him to see who was faster? Completely stupid. Because even shark food swims faster than he does. Sharks eat penguins. To clarify, when extracting organs for donating, doctors need to keep the body alive. Obviously through machines. But they need to keep the blood pumping. Edit. Since this blew up, I do want to clarify that, as mentioned in the comments, some organs can be harvested after death. But main organs like heart and lung need to be receiving oxygen. I found out not too long ago that when someone gets a kidney transplant, they don't take the old kidney out. They just implant the new one in the recipient's body cavity. 911 operators have no ducking clue where you are instantly unless you're on a landline. You have to say where you are. It's not our fault movies made you think we have a spy level video of you in your car. Know your location. I was on a rural stretch of Canadian highway and came upon a bad accident with injuries and a car on its roof. There was no mobile service, so I drove until I got a signal to call an ambulance, but when I got through I had no safe space to pull over and lost the signal before giving all the details. When I got signal back I had the most amusing message on my voicemail. "Hi, this is Andrew from Emergency Services. If you can give me a call back, my number is 911. So I called back and the best description I could give: going west, a big curve after the park, approx this many clicks from this town. They found it no problem. Sometimes it's a matter of being specific enough. Tear ducts drain tears. They don't produce them. Drain them to where? Also, what produces them? It was never mentioned that Humpty Dumpty was an egg. Why were the horses trying to reassemble Humpty Dumpty? The and thou were actually the informal forms. The King James Bible used them so that the relationship with God would seem more personal. There's also no such thing as ye, meaning the. It's the but spelled with an archaic letter that signifies the th sound. As that letter, thorn, disappeared from the English language, people would replace it in writing with a Y because it can look like a small thorn, depending on your handwriting and the instrument you use to write. So YLDX is actually the LDX, the letter is not supposed to be a Y. Pufferfish are filled with water, not air. It wouldn't even make sense. Yet a lot of people are like, what? True. But pufferfish actually can and do fill themselves with air when on land. Around 70% of all car accidents happen within 10 miles of your home, because over 70% of your driving is within 10 miles of your home. It's a statistic driving teachers love to toss out there, that most accidents happen close to your home. But if you think about it, most of your driving is close to your home. Even if you drive 20 miles to work, 50% of your driving will take place 10 miles from your home. The average commute is around 15 miles, and most people shop close to home. So it's really common sense that the majority of your driving will take place in that 10-mile radius, even if you travel further for work or other activities. Why is everyone having all these car accidents next to my house? You don't actually bite down. You bite up because of your lower jaw. I hate you for making me painfully self-aware of this. The plural version of cul-de-sac is cul-de-sac. The Terminator didn't need a heads-up display in his visual system. His system already had access to all of that information anyway. Otherwise, how could it display it? Redisplaying it in a form that would then have to be visually interpreted would be a complete waste of time. You all act like you haven't had to debug something before. Well, the machines designed the Terminator. You say? The Terminators were all slow, inefficient, and ineffectual. Not only did the machines neglect to delete redundant debug visual interface, they didn't even bother to disable it before release. Elephants have some of the closest looking breasts to humans besides primates, of course. Two of them. You just kind of look at female elephants in the context you usually see them and whoop. There it is, and you can't unsee it ever again. Almost all samples of sea salt that you can buy in supermarkets are contaminated by microplastics from all the crap in the ocean. And many of the pink Himalayan salt are actually dyed so that people think they are getting healthy minerals when in fact they aren't. Dissolve a tablespoon of pink salt in a little bit of water and see if it turns pink even a tiny little bit. If it does, you've been had. When a nurse gives you an IV, they aren't leaving the metal needle inside your arm. They actually remove that and only a soft plastic tube remains, so you don't need to keep your arm that straight. Relax. Edit. Holy shit. Okay, I'll keep it short and sweet. I am not a doctor. I just listened to Sawbones podcast, most recent episode, and found out this fact myself. Ro. Thank you so much for the karma and coins. I don't know what to do now. I'm also really happy my most upvoted comment is about something kinda smart and not butts. Thank you, Sydney McElroy. MD. Needle pierces into the vein, then guides the catheter as the nurse slides the catheter into the vein. Metal needle is removed. Still best not to move or agitate area where IV is placed to avoid obstructing the flow through the catheter. If you touch a baby bird, the mother will not reject it. I don't even know who came up with it. Probably a parent who didn't want a wild animal in the house. World Wide Web contains fewer syllables than its intended short form, www. Thus making the shorter version longer to say. Edit. Grammar. I just say dub. There's a D in fridge but not in refrigerator. It really bothers me. Who's to say you can't put the D in the refrigerator? You know that old statistic that the average person eats 3 spiders in their sleep each year? That was an intentionally made up statistic by a journalist to elicit the point that people will believe any statistic the media will tell them. Edit. Apparently it's 8 that is commonly told. And apparently even the origin of this myth itself is ironically not factual. Yes. Everyone knows it's actually 8 spiders per year. Can't fool me. Just like a dormitory is a place where you sleep. A laboratory is a place where you labor. Observatory is where you observe. Lavatory is where you wash. Lava is Latin for wash. Repository is where you store things. Reponere is Latin for put away, store. Factory is where you make things. Factor is Latin for doer maker. It's a safe deposit box, not a safety deposit box. This guy doesn't neopets. You can take a quart-sized Ziploc bag, throats are full of the little travel bottles of liquor as you can fit in there. It's completely legal. Now, the airline might not approve of you pouring your own drinks, but it makes layovers and hanging out in the terminal much more easy. Edit. So this blew up. I definitely don't want anyone to break the law. All I was saying is that it's a thing and you can go through that SAR just fine with your own booze. Just be smart about it. Also, I fixed the also hangovers and laying out in the terminal. The little piggy didn't go to the market for shopping. True. He shops online now. Just like humans. British cows moo in regional accents. Moo in it. When water boils it is the same temperature no matter how big the bubbles are. Edit. I know I have described this in a 4th grade science kind of way. That's why we have pressure cookers. If you increase the pressure you raise the boiling temp. Meaning you can cook foods hotter and faster. Violent crime in the US has fallen over 50% since 1994. Think about that for a moment. We only think it is more because of social media and 24 hours news stations where we hear more than before. Despite some spikes every once in a while, violent crime has been plummeting for 25 years. Edit. Well, this blew up while I was sleeping. If you want to know more, read Better Angels of Our Nature by Steven Pinker. The world is getting better, well in this respect. Things are not all doom and gloom. Divorce has been plummeting in the US since the 1970s. As well. Ask anyone to guess and they'd assume it's tripled or quintupled or something. Nah. Just became a more common plotline in TV and movies. The Los Angeles Angels is basically saying that the Angels were all in English. Edit. Holy shit, I now know what they mean by RIP inbox. I went to bed and came back to several hundred comments. Thanks for the gold, silver, kind stranger, S, and all that good stuff. The La Brea tar pits is the tar pits. Chai tea is TT. Sahara desert is desert. Lake Tahoe is lake. Sharia law is law. El Camino way is the way. Soviet Union is union. Mississippi River is big river. Hula dance is dance. DC Comics is Detective Comics. Edit. To add a few more that people have pointed out. ATM machine is automated teller machine. SAT test is standard aptitude test. PIN number is personal identification number. VIN number is vehicle identification number. Pendle Hill is hill or hill. Shrimp Scampi is shrimp. Lake Michigan is lake big lake. Koala bear is bear. Vermont mountain. Vermont is Green Mountain. Green Mountain. The Ferrari La Ferrari is the Ferrari. Mount Fujiyama is Mount Fuji Mountain. UPC code is Universal Product Code. Mount Fuji is Mount or Mountain. Table Mesa is table. Torpedo Hill is hill. The Rio Grande River is the big river. Coronary heart disease is heart disease. AC current is alternating current. HIV virus is human immunodeficiency virus. Master Shifu. The character from Kung Fu Panda is Master Master. LAN network is local area network. LCD display is liquid crystal display. PDF format is portable document format. Panera bread is bread. A location is tropical if it falls between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. In the US, only Hawaii is tropical. And only barely. South Florida is also very close to the Tropic of Cancer, but is north of it and thus not tropical. That would be why Florida is generally referred to as having a subtropical climate. Ducking, like and subscribe.